It's no secret that humans can be incredibly creative when it comes to art, science, and culture. However, unfortunately, this creativity also has a dark side, especially when we look at the execution methods used in ancient times, and surprisingly, even in not-so-distant periods. Since antiquity, different civilizations across the world have developed execution methods that were more than simply taking life. They served as true spectacles of terror, with a warning tone to those who dared challenge established laws and orders. These macabre practices were not only forms of punishment, but also rituals loaded with symbolism and power. In this video, we will explore 6 of the most brutal death penalties ever known. We'll travel back in time and discover methods involving ferocious animals to techniques that seem straight out of a horror film, used to inflict maximum pain before the victim's final breath. And look, some of these methods are so intense they will make you thankful for living in the modern era, where many countries have abolished the death penalty or adopted much less barbaric methods. But before we dive into these hair-raising stories, I want to hear from you. What is your opinion on the death penalty? Do you think it should still be applied in any context? Respond here in the comments, because this is a debate that always generates divided opinions and a lot of discussion. And of course, if you find this video informative and intriguing, don't forget to leave that like and share it with friends. Let's go! Turn up the volume and get ready, because the story we're going to tell today is one you won't forget anytime soon. 1. Impalement. Impalement, an execution method that chills the blood just thinking about it. This brutal death penalty has roots in antiquity, with historical records indicating its use in various cultures, including Romania under the command of Vlad the Impaler, who gave it a sinister fame. Execution by impalement was exceptionally agonizing and prolonged, designed to maximize the victim's suffering while serving as a terrifying spectacle to deter others from committing crimes or rebellions. The victim was forced to sit on a sharp stake or pole that, through gravity and the body's own weight, slowly penetrated through the anus or vagina until emerging from the mouth, chest, or shoulders. In many cases, the stake was deliberately kept not so sharp to ensure that death did not come quickly. Impalement could take hours or even days, causing excruciating pain as the stake tore through the internal organs. To ensure the victim remained alive for as long as possible during this horrible process, executioners used techniques to avoid rapid damage to vital organs. For example, they might use oil to ease the introduction of the stake, or adjust the angle of entry to prolong the agony. This method of execution was not just a way to kill, it was a declaration of power and a method of control through fear. The impaled body was displayed in public as a severe warning against disobedience. This sight not only terrorized the population, but also reinforced the ruler's relentless power and authority. 2. Wheel of dismemberment. The wheel of dismemberment, or death wheel, was a form of medieval execution used primarily in Europe, known for its brutality and visceral cruelty. This method involved using a large wooden wheel to break the victim's bones before leaving them exposed to death. The execution began with the condemned being stretched out on the ground or in a frame, tied up and immobilized. The executioner then used the wheel or a heavy hammer to systematically break each bone in the victim's body, an agonizing procedure that could extend for hours. After the initial torture, the mutilated, still-living body was intertwined among the wheel's spokes. The wheel was then raised and fixed atop a vertical post, leaving the victim suspended. The exposed position ensured that death was not swift. The wounded remained there, often in public areas, as a graphic warning to all passers-by. Exposed to natural elements and predatory animals, the condemned could take days to die from shock, dehydration, or infections. The wheel of dismemberment turned death into a theater of horror, reiterating the power of the law in a macabre and highly visual manner. 3. The bronze bull. Also known as the Sicilian bull, this method originated from ancient Greece and was designed to maximize the condemned's pain while turning their suffering into a grotesque auditory spectacle for onlookers. The execution device was a hollow bronze sculpture shaped like a bull, within which the victim was locked. The metal, heated by a fire lit underneath the bull's belly, turned the interior into a scorching furnace. The cruelty of the bronze bull didn't stop there. The device had an acoustic system that transformed the victim's screams of agony into sounds resembling the bellowing of a bull. This macabre detail not only intensified the horror of the execution, but also served as a perverse form of entertainment. Perillos of Athens, the creator of the bull, proposed this invention to the tyrant Phalaris, the ruler of Acragas in Sicily, known for his brutality. According to legend, after witnessing the demonstration of the bull, Phalaris ordered that Perillos himself be the first to be tested in the machine. After hearing the screams turned into bellowing, Phalaris had the bull opened before Perillos died and threw him off a cliff. The bronze bull symbolizes not only the inventiveness of the ancients in terms of execution, but also the extreme sadism of tyrants who used fear and torture to secure their authority. 4. Dismemberment by horses. Primarily used in medieval Europe, this extreme form of public execution was also known as quartering. The method involved tying each of the condemned's limbs to a different horse and then having the animals run in opposite directions, literally tearing the victim apart. This execution was reserved for the most severe crimes, such as treason or the murder of nobility. The intent was not only to punish the accused, but also to serve as a stern warning to those who witnessed the act. Quartering not only ensured a painful death, but also extreme public humiliation. Before being dismembered, the condemned often underwent other forms of torture, such as whipping or mutilation, and were paraded through the streets. At the moment of execution, large crowds gathered to watch the spectacle, which was treated as a social event. Once firmly tied to the limbs of the condemned by ropes or chains, the horses were whipped to sprint abruptly, resulting in dismemberment. In some cases, if the horses could not tear the body apart immediately, the executioners would partially cut the tendons of the victims to assist the process, ensuring that death was not only inevitable but also excruciatingly painful. 5. Fighting lions in the Colosseum. In the heart of ancient Rome, one of the most dreaded death penalties was being thrown to fight lions in the Colosseum. This brutal method of execution was part of public spectacles designed not just to punish, but also to entertain the Roman plebeians. The condemned, often slaves, prisoners of war, or criminals, were thrown into the massive arena, poorly armed, if at all, facing hungry lions trained to kill. The fight was incredibly uneven. The lions, kept in captivity and often in conditions of starvation to enhance their ferocity, were released into the arena where the condemned already awaited. Without proper training or any real form of defense, these individuals stood very little chance of survival. The event was meant to demonstrate the absolute power and control of Rome over life and death, a public and visual reminder of what could happen to those who challenged the rules or authority of the empire. The audience filling the Colosseum watched with enthusiasm. For them, it was a form of entertainment, a celebration of Roman strength and brutality. The arena became a stage of horror where the blood of the condemned was spilled amidst cheers and roars. Death in the arena was considered a spectacle, a social event that attracted citizens from all classes. Each of these execution techniques not only reflects the historical period and the values of its time, but also makes us question the evolution of justice and human morality. It makes us think, how far can punishment go before it becomes merely an expression of cruelty? And now I want to hear from you. Which of these death penalties did you find most disturbing? And how do you think these dark stories compare to modern judicial practices? If you were intrigued and want to explore more historical and cultural curiosities like this, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.